came to New York to cycle a heart around the city on the day of and the day after the US presidential elections. I wanted to speak to the people I met along the way to capture the mood of this significant moment. I drew the heart by hand, and I hoped that this would lead to a fresh way to report the news that would unfold. Large-scale changes were sweeping across societies around the world, and with this, a new degree of anxiety about a precarious future for an increasingly powerless population. And yet, we all have the power to turn off our news feeds and tell a different story. Go outside and actually talk to people face to face. Hello. Look, a big heart around New York.
Oh, sweet.
Speaking to people along the way.
Well, it's a historic day. We're going to elect a woman to the White House.
And that's a good thing?
It's a terrific thing.
Why?
Voting for Hillary all the way along. 100 years, wait, it's time.
Just got her Hillary Clinton.
Hillary
We're with
Clinton?
her.
And I need my Hillary Clinton.
Good luck with your trip today.
No one runs against Hillary, okay? She took her knocks, she got up, she got down, and she got up, and she got back up again. Pneumonia and all. That's what America needs. We need Hillary Clinton in the White House. I predict a landslide. I have a red bracelet, everything.
And how would you feel if you were wrong?
How would I feel if I was wrong? I want the votes to be counted like he does.
You know, this was a campaign where people tried to split neighbor from neighbor. A lot of harsh rhetoric. And once the campaign is over now, it's just the voting. Once we have a new president in place, I'm hoping that we'll work together on narrowing some of those differences that sometimes can lead to antisocial behavior.
I think we're way behind Europe, we're way behind Latin America, and it's time we catch up.
When I was 13 years old, my dad took me to New York. It was for my bar mitzvah. It was the first time that I'd been. We stayed in this hotel up by Central Park, and rollerblading had just come out. And I begged him to let me hire a pair. And I skated all the way down from Central Park to these twin towers in the distance. Can you imagine a more enticing goal? And when I got there, got in the lift, and I remember riding the elevator with my skates on, and I said to these strangers, let's take a picture. The simplest things can lead to lifelong memories. And how are you feeling?
A bit anxious, but I think she'll pull through. Voting for Hillary, well, as you can tell. Yeah, so very excited. I have my white on, to represent the women's suffrage movement, and that we're going to have a female president. Right now, if Hillary Clinton gets in, we're talking about Merkel from Germany. We're talking about Scotland. We're talking about the Prime Minister of England. I mean, that's fantastic. You can imagine that on the world stage? Yeah, it's going to be great. The whole thing about racism and, the anti-immigrant talk is ridiculous, So that kind of cloud kind of hangs over things. And what kind of country are we when so many of us are descendants of immigrants? It's ridiculous. Even Donald Trump is a descendant of immigrants. His wives. Excited to vote for a very, very qualified woman.
I was heading down towards the southern tip of my heart shape, away from Brooklyn Heights and Park Slope, and all the way down to Brighton Beach. I was struck by how quickly and how extremely the neighborhoods changed.
Are you happy?
I don't know sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes I feel I am, but sometimes I don't feel I am. When you ask people if they're happy, it's a hard thing to answer, There's an old saying, when you laugh, everybody laughs. But when you cry alone. When I was a young kid, a handshake was a handshake, value was value. Now there's nothing with nothing. house, I'll walk my dog and see my old doo-wop. You know what doo-wop is, right?
What's the doo-wop?
Doo-wop is the old school music,
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
a cappella.
Can you dance?
Then I do everything. I'm not a crippled old man. I can bounce, but you don't know. I'm in great shape. You gotta be happy. You're here today, you're going tomorrow.
Making a film out of this bike ride is a very challenging project. But going on a bike ride itself to a place you've never been before could not be simpler or more enriching. There's something so rewarding about making friends. And there's something about talking to strangers, meeting strangers, where unusually powerful friendships can form very quickly.
I have political asylum and I'm from Ukraine. In one time I clearly understand every moment when I thinking about political, I lost my, I waste, я теряю свою жизнь. I lose every moment of my life. So I try don't touch, because, you know.
Будешь давать?
Что? I know my life in my hand, so I must do something for myself. I can't go back to Ukraine and I can't go back to Russia because I have a Ukrainian passport. But you know, I'm very happy here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Feels like home?
Exactly. Manhattan is my home.
I came 36 ago here to the state. I used to work for the transit employer, so I retired 12 years ago. I'm 77. I want to go fishing, I go fish. I want to eat, I take my wife, go to the restaurant. That's it. I need something to buy, I go on the next street. I'm like on the, how do you say, in the heaven, right? That's it, I enjoy myself. Most of the guys what I know, who has, you know, who knows it's not coming from there, it's all depend to you. They got everything. You know, who was expecting it's coming easy, you know, like a lot of things happen in life. But most of those people was there on the street. It's just because they don't want it. You know, it's it. This how I understand.
Thank
That's
you.
it, fellas. What else can I tell you?
A joke.
A joke.
Election day. Great.
Why?
Why? Because we're going to have a new president.
Suppose you're not happy with the last one. Were you happy with the last one?
Nothing really, but he was a good president. We wish him the best.
And so, but what's your feeling about the future now?
We're going to have a great America.
Yeah. What does that? What will make it great?
Everything's going to be good. We're still good now. We're going to be good better. We'll make better.
Okay, but what can you tell me what you feel that means in the future?
In the future, we're going to have better healthcare, more salary, less taxes, I hope.
Okay. And, do you live around here?
Yes, I live in Brighton Beach. I'm Russian American.
And why? Can you tell me about this neighborhood a little bit?
Neighborhood is great. It's Little Russia. We all love here. We all friendly. All speak our own language. Our stores, our restaurants, our language, which is more important than everything else.
I've cycled 2 hearts before, one around Berlin and one around Amsterdam, using a paper map to navigate, as opposed to a little smartphone. A real map helps me see the scale of my challenge and a feeling for just how small I am against the vastness of, in this case, New York City. I was now cycling towards Brownsville, a notoriously violent suburb in the east of the city. By this stage of the trip, it was clear I hardly knew New York at all, but I was beginning to also wonder how well New Yorkers knew New York, or each other.
To some, it may bring a salty taste to mind. To others, this is home, and we love it. I mean, yes, we have good and we have bad, and that's everywhere. But we're working on change. I believe in the message, Brownsville in, violence out. So come out and vote. You keep an animal caged up, eventually that animal is either gonna cower or that animal is gonna strike out in rage. And that's what's happening. These kids really don't have no outlets to express themselves. We don't have a whole lot of after-school centers, you know, so the kids are left wandering. You know, we have a drug problem. You know, we have abuse issues. We have neglect issues. But all that can be changed with talking to one another, having compassion, you know, looking to help, not hurt. We will make a change. And all lives matter. All lives matter.
How do you feel about the future?
Well, I know it will be rough. You know, it will be rough. It will be rough. But we have faith in her. If everybody work with her, you know, don't work against her. We need to come together as a country, as one America, not Black America, White America, Hispanic America. We need to come together as one.
One
right?
nation.
I think we have a good future coming ahead. Yeah, in ahead of us. Work together. We are all equal, right?
I'll cut down on the crime.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. You know, that's everybody
can
can
guns
live.
out there.
What a night!
And a complete earthquake.
Donald Trump will be the 45th President of the United States.
I pledge to every citizen of our land
a big win for Donald Trump
that I will be president for all Americans.
There's something wonderful and also terrifying about returning to a place at different intervals in your life. The things you knew, you no longer know. How would this mood swing manifest itself? The sequence of events seemed so far-fetched, it meant anything was possible. All of our imaginations ran wild.
I feel weird today. Like very, very weird. We're just staring down an odd span of 4 years now, at least. There's like the symptoms of what's actually wrong, and I don't know how to explain how things got that wrong, that we're here now with the majority of people believing this is the right direction and this is the right place to be. So it seems so clearly backwards to me, and so I can't even explain how other people see it as the right direction. I really don't.
After the Brexit result in the UK, it was always possible in the back of my mind that a shock result was possible. That result made it clear that everyone in my social network had basically been talking to each other, and that the promise of technology to democratize was losing credibility.
My daughter, of course, stayed up all night watching the election, as most people did. And somehow or other, my daughter turned out to be a liberal. I don't understand how.
What did you turn out to be?
I started off being a liberal, but as you know, as you get older, you get more conservative, and you want to keep things, and so.
So today's a good day for you. Good
Today,
day.
we'll see. We'll see. He's a dangerous man, you know, but she was more dangerous, I think. That's all.
How's that?
She didn't tell the truth. You never knew when she was telling the truth, did you? I couldn't tell. And I don't like that in a president. So, the Roman Empire, they started allowing men to grow beards and to use cosmetics, and the men didn't have to serve in the army. And foreigners came in, served in the army, and when the barbarians came, guess what happened? The foreigners turned and ran, and the Roman Empire overnight collapsed. And there's a lot of parallels between that and, unfortunately, the United States since 1945 seems to have given up some of its traditional loyalty type values, and I fear for our country. The old guys my age are pretty much the way I do. I'm a guy who had 5 heart attacks, had serious cancer, had the last rites 5 times. So pretty, you know, if I were to die tomorrow, it's okay with me. It's been a great run. And I say my prayers every day, and I try to love my fellow man and fellow woman. And I hope for the best. We still have a very free country and a very good country. But to have a nation, you have to have laws. You have to be a country of law. Otherwise, bad people get away with cheating. And I despise cheaters. And there are more cheaters now, I think, than there were 25, 40, 50 years ago. How much harm can he do in 4 years? And maybe he'll do some good. That's all.
As I cycled in the rain towards Manhattan, I consider the last man I'd spoken with, the first open, explicit Trump supporter that I'd met. His position seemed irreconcilable with the perspectives of the people I'd met the day before, and yet no one felt like my enemy. Although their conclusions may have differed, what I believe everybody has been talking about are their hopes and aspirations for a fairer future for humankind. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were in Manhattan. There was news of angry protests outside Trump Towers. My phone was filled with concerned messages from friends and family back home, worried about my safety and well-being. But this was not reflected in what I was seeing on the streets around me. Was all that about to change as I headed to the very epicenter of this global event?
I mean, I was up. I fell asleep when I saw when Hillary was at, 218? And then I woke up a few minutes later and Hillary concedes to him and gives him the call. I thought, you gotta be kidding. I'm still seeing 2 yellow states. They haven't come in for the voting. I was like, no, not again. I'm so disgusted. I am so disgusted. What time has he put in to serve, to give back to the public? Not a damn thing. He don't want blacks in his apartments. It's disgusting how people want this man in office. He wants to roll back Roe v. Wade. Who is he to tell a woman to do with her body? It's disgusting. He's an idiot, a true idiot.
Sorry, you're hurting.
I'm disgusted with the whole system. This next 4 years, Jim, if I could afford to move to Canada, I would, but I can't. So I gotta stay here and deal with the bull. I've moved to Paris too, shoot, someplace else other than here right now.
I think that there will be a revolution. I think things have to get a lot worse before they get better. I've always said this country is vehemently racist and sexist.
but doesn't really know how to address that and doesn't really know how to admit that. So I think this is just a product of that, really. I mean, it's definitely a lesson in heartbreak.
People were for the most part upset, but in amongst this, there was plenty of optimism.
You know, it's just a dismal day, but this too shall pass. Tomorrow's sunnier, right? It's day by day. Welcome to New York.
Different people different. Even your brother, sister, not everybody same. Whatever they're going to the president, the Trump or Hillary, is nothing problem for us.
Very optimistic. Yeah, as always.
Why is that?
I think if we think optimistic, we have a good life, good thing. Everything is going well. If we're pessimistic, nothing's gonna get well, right?
It was hard to know what to make of it, but I was not witnessing the anger on the streets being reported in the media that it was causing so much tension elsewhere. The general mood was calm and civil. Perhaps this was a New York resilience, or perhaps it was just that most people express their concerns in a language that is simply underreported.
I teach science, and the Republican Party here in the States has had very many anti-science positions, from vaccinations to global warming to evolution, and whether it should be taught in high school classes here in the States. I mean, to me, that's crazy talk, and it is anti-intellectual. I feel very badly about the way things turned out yesterday.
As night falls and workers start to leave their offices, dark clouds roll overhead. I cycle through the rain to where the Twin Towers once stood. Their absence tugged at me. Nothing is infallible. My thoughts turn to the upcoming elections in the Netherlands, France, Germany. The European project is changing. It is breaking.
I work upstairs at a financial firm, and I can tell you that the mood was somber, to say the least. And all of my clients who called basically said that they were genuinely concerned about the state of the United States to come. Trump may screw up in sort of our international trade features, which I think could kind of destroy our economy. He seems like the kind of person who's going to dictate what he wants and not listen to anybody. Reason.
Why is that so? Why do you think that's been so seductive for so many people?
I think people are disappointed. I think that people are disappointed when it comes to how the economy has turned out since Obama, but I think people lack to recognize the level of unemployment that we have has actually improved dramatically since Obama came on board. That's not fair, and I don't necessarily think that that's what this country is about.
He hasn't been clearly explaining, what his policies are and what he's going to do. He just appeals to people's fears, and that's what's got him elected, which I think is very scary.
I work for a media company. I have huge concerns, particularly around freedom of the press. We could enter a period in which there's not a lot of tolerance at the highest levels of government for a free press. We may see a chilling effect on our journalism in this country. There's nothing that I think can make us feel better than by actually starting to do things. And that's much more than voting.
Crossing over the Brooklyn Bridge marks the final stretch of this 60-mile journey around New York, home of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and 8.5 million other people. I've finished my interviews now, and there is just a moment to pause and consider the time since I was last here yesterday. I believe the last guy was right. If you're unhappy with the way things are, then just voting is not enough. There's nothing that makes us feel better than actually doing things. It doesn't have to be a bike. We all have our vehicle for deciding where you stand as an individual. And although this was just one route in one city, speaking to strangers is a good thing to do. It disproves the idea that we are surrounded by enemies.